Hey, this is Patrick, trail name Mando. I've been out on the trail for about 5 weeks, living in my Durston X-Mid Pro 1, the single-person tent. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, my camera is not letting me just flip the video around. So sorry about that, but we'll just have to do it manually. So this is the tent. I just have it set up in the yard because it was damp, and I wanted to sweep it out, dry it out and sweep it out. But I thought I would just do a really short video on some little things I've learned about setting it up over the last several weeks I was in it. I rode out some pretty good storms, you know, some nice weather too, but some real big winds and different storms. And I really came to value having it set up well. And there's just a couple little things that I think that maybe you'll find useful if you have one of these tents. So since it's set up right now, what I'll say right now is just, here's where the top of one of the hiking poles, and coming around over here is the top of the other hiking pole. And if you kind of look down this ridge line, it's pretty straight. And if you put your tent up and that ridge line isn't straight, it's kind of crooked and twisted, that's an indication that you didn't get it square. Getting it square is really important. And I'll show you kind of a little thing that has helped me to make sure that when I put it up, I have it square. All right, so when you lay the tent out, before you put the poles in, it requires 2 poles, as you already know. Stake the short side first. Obviously, you want the wind blowing in that direction. When you're setting it up, it's going to make life easier. So do the upwind side, short side first. Pull it a little bit tight. There's not any reason to not pull it tight. So just pull it a little bit tight. And then do the long side. And so what you're looking for is between this short side and this long side, you want a 90-degree angle. And I didn't find that to be super easy to do, you know, because a little bit off of 90 degrees really changes the effectiveness of the pitch. So what I found was really helpful. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to say in this video, so sorry about that. I'm trying to adjust this pole at the same time. What I found to be pretty helpful is when I put this side down, staked both sides of a short side, I would take my hiking pole and I would line it up in line with that side. Then when I came down here to this corner to stake this corner, instead of trying to see, you know, am I in 90 degrees with that, I would look instead at the pole, which lying in the grass isn't so obvious. Lying in the sand of New Mexico is quite obvious. But if you'll do that, I found that helped me to set 90 degrees much more accurately. So once you do that, set that 90 degrees, you only have one corner left, and it's this one. And you'll have to just kind of get the feel for it, but I try to put more tension on the short sides than the long sides. And the reason for that is that the long sides have got the zippers. You can over tension the long sides so that if you have the sides rolled up and it's nice and you got nice breeze going through, but then it starts to rain and you want to put them down, you can have it over tensioned or have the poles too high so that it's really hard to zip and you're starting to really put a lot of stress on the zipper. So that's something to just kind of experiment with. But I found that you could put pretty good tension on the short sides. So this one went in last, and this is a pretty good pitch. I feel like this is a good one. But back at the very beginning of the video, I showed you that ridge line. If you put your poles up and that ridgeline is crooked, twisted looking, then you're not at 90 degrees. So you just want to have to back up. You get better at it, of course. It's like everything. The more you do it, the better you get at it. But it's really important. In good weather, four stakes, and you're good to go. And if the weather's a little bit windy or dicey, then you'll probably want to tie out a little bit. And the beauty of this tent is it's just got great tie outs in the right places, and you can really, really make it secure. So really, I hope that's helpful. This tent has worked really well for me. I'm super happy with it. It takes a lot of space to put it up, but just remember, unless you're tying it out, once you lay it down, the footprint of the tent, that's all the space you need. For example, I have a Z-Packs tent, which I really like. But when I put it up, the footprint of the tent is not the space I need because it's got guy lines going out in all directions. So, yeah, great tent. And I hope that's helpful. Just remember the little trick on trying to get the 90 degrees